Welcome back to episode 25 of the Cleveland Benchwarmers podcast. We are your hosts, Jacob,
Sam,
and Baden.
And today we are going to be going into the NBA Finals as well as looking forward to the upcoming NFL season. Without further ado, anyone want to start it off?
Well, clearly we should start off with the finals matchup that I can safely say nobody wanted. No neutral NBA fan wanted to see both of these teams in the finals. Everybody hates the Golden State Warriors. Everybody hates the Boston Celtics. There is no winning no matter what the outcome of the finals is. I'm sorry.
It's true.
These are definitely two more unlikely teams in the NBA.
So who are we rooting for?
I'm rooting for the Celtics.
I'm rooting for. If you had told me 5 years ago I would have said this, I would have called you crazy and out of your mind. But I'm rooting for the Warriors.
Same.
I'm rooting for the Warriors.
Okay, so let's hear the rationale. Why are you guys rooting for the Warriors? What goes on in your head?
I've come to accept greatness, and the Warriors are the definition of greatness. I wouldn't have accepted that before, but the Cavs, Warriors rivalry is over now. So I don't have that same hatred for them that I used to. I wouldn't mind seeing the Warriors, dynasty come back to life, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, same rationale for me. I hated them because they were our rivals, and that rivalry is over now. And I have a lot of respect for a lot of the Warriors players and coaches as people, more so than I do for Celtics players and fans.
Fans, yeah, heavy on the fans.
And so, yeah, I think part of it's just the greatness that you can only truly admire their greatness once you don't have a personal attachment to it. Because we did. 4 straight against the Cavs, But now that the Cavs are not involved, I think I can root for the Warriors. And my conscience won't tell me no.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get that, but why I'm rooting for the Boston Celtics is because I guess the difference between you guys and me is that you guys have gotten over the rivalry. I still hold out dreams, hopes and thoughts and just wild fantasies.
That's fair.
Sam wakes up early every morning just to be a hater of the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah. And, I like to think that if the Celtics, win the finals this year, the Cavs make the playoffs next year, we face them, and then we beat them, and we prove that we're legit. That's the storyline I like to see playing out in my head.
I mean, hey, we could prove we're really legit if we beat the Warriors in the finals again.
Great. Man,
actually, Baden and I were talking about this. Baden and I were actually talking about this earlier today. We were in the large auditorium because we weren't doing anything in class, and we were talking about is Steph Curry, as of right now, if he wins a ring and a Finals MVP this year, is he top 5 all time? My answer was no. Baden said yes.
I said yes. I don't know. To me, I have Magic top 5 all time. I think Magic Johnson's the top 5 player of all time. And to me, I think Curry would pass Magic if he had another ring and a Finals MVP. And so, obviously, put 2 and 2 together, that means I'd have him passing 4 or 5 other guys to be top 5 all time. I'd probably put him at 5. But, I can see the argument from not wanting him to be top 5 or him not being top 5. But in my eyes, I feel like with, 4 rings and then Finals MVP, the best player of a dynasty that's lasted, it's pushing a decade now. I think Curry is top 5 all time.
I just think Jacob, before you talk, let me tell you why I don't think this. 2 of those rings are fraud rings. Kevin Durant being on that team for 27. No. Kevin Durant being part of a super team inherently takes away from the value of those rings.
They become less valuable, yes, but I still I mean, it's really this is gonna sound really odd because it's like I don't know. It takes the value away from Kevin Durant's legacy than the whole Warriors legacy, in my opinion.
Okay,
the
elaborate.
Warriors still might win that championship in 2017 and 2018 if you take KD off of the team. That's the crazy, especially 2018. 2018 they still win without KD.
2018 they still win without KD. I'll cede you that one.
2017 maybe not. 2017 the Cavs might get that one. So that's the thing. The dynasty, it's not like to me. The Warriors dynasty isn't because of Kevin Durant. It's because of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Kevin Durant just made it unfair. So I think how I value the rings for Steph Curry and Klay and Dre are different. How I value it for Kevin Durant because of what he did. You're the best player to hit free agency since LeBron in 2011, and you go to the team that beat you, that you lost 3-1 to in the playoffs, that just won 73 games in a regular season. So I don't take as much value away from the rings for Steph Curry as I do for KD.
I just hate the whole narrative that like it's a fraud ring. KD decided that he couldn't beat them, so he joined them. Like that's a good move by the Warriors GM. Your goal is not let it be fair for everyone else. Your goal is to win a championship. It doesn't make it a fraud ring.
I'm not blaming the Warriors. No, if everyone had the chance to sign Kevin Durant, no matter who's on your team already, they're doing that.
Absolutely.
That's not. So you can't.
I'm not trying to dispute that, but I'm just saying that Kevin Durant, and at the end of the day, it's not the GM that made the right move, okay? Kevin Durant, as a superstar, is going to dictate whatever kind of value he wants to dictate. That's not the Warriors GM, okay? That is a player choosing to be a snake and affecting the legacies subsequently of Stephen Curry, of himself, and I think at least to some degree tainting the Warriors dynasty.
I don't know.
Because now you can no longer look at the Warriors dynasty as the big three of Steph, Klay, and Dre. You now have to put it into the context of Kevin Durant being on that team for 3 years and winning the finals 2 out of 3 times.
If they win the championship this year, and let's just say even if let's just say they win like one from like 2 years from now, and they're still competitive, then I feel like we can say this is Steph, Klay, and Dre. Like this is when those 3 guys were there, no one's stopping them. They just had 2 years. They had 2 years of, or I guess 3 years of Kevin Durant being there, and just made it completely unfair, and they won 2 rings out of it. But I think if they can be competitive for another 3 years with this trio, then I would look at that dynasty as Steph, Klay, and Dre, and Kevin Durant was like a side piece.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. So I'll see that point.
Back to the Curry being top 5 thing. Who are the guys who are locks for top 5? LeBron,
MJ, and Kareem. Those are the clear-cut top 3 guys in whatever order.
Wilt is a top 3 player of all time. He is. There's nothing about Kareem that was better than Wilt. Wilt has legitimate GOAT. Like, he should be in the conversation.
All right, I've had a lot of conversations with a couple people about this, and I think people don't understand this. Wilt Chamberlain was an awful playoff performer. How do you average 50 points in the regular season and you drop down to like 26? 26 is still good. You averaged 50 in the regular season. It's like the man did not show up for the playoffs. That's one thing. Second thing, I mean, bro, if he wasn't playing Bill Russell, I mean, he was just...
The whole playing nobody's argument is so dumb. Because, like,
it's dumb to an extent. It's dumb to an extent. It's dumb to an extent, because I understand. Because you have to realize you got players in that era, they couldn't control that. And I think Wilt would still be great in any era.
I agree. Greatness doesn't have a time limit.
Bro, he's not putting up a Penta truck pull double in the 80s and beyond. He's just not doing that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's not scoring 100 in any game.
No. Okay. Yeah.
Past 1975.
Well, no one's. The 100 thing is kind of. he probably didn't even score 100. Like, no, I'm serious.
Yes, you are validating our argument.
No,
right
I
now.
mean,
I'm not
if he
saying-
didn't score
well-
100, how like?
He had one statistician who was like, the NBA
To me,
didn't have
when you
official
look at-
stat keepers.
When you look at what the top 3 players in the all-time have done, LeBron is a 4-time MVP. He's a 4-time champion. He went to the finals 8 straight years, 9 of 10 years. This is a guy who has the greatest longevity of any player in NBA history. From the moment he steps on the court to this past season, it's been elite basketball play. You look at Kareem, 5-time champion, 6-time MVP. Before LeBron, he had the best longevity of anyone in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
The #1 scorer of all time, which LeBron will pass next year.
Yeah.
And then Jordan, obviously, 6-time champion. I think he's a 5-time MVP or 6-time
5-time MVP.
He's 5-time MVP.
I think 5 is
elite.
right.
Also, like LeBron, but Jordan probably to a higher extent, elite defender. The 90s Bulls are widely known as maybe the best dynasty in all of basketball. I think that's fair to say. You went to the finals 6 times, won all 6 years.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain has 2. Wilt Chamberlain was a stat sheet stuffer and only has 2 rings and was carried by Jerry West.
No. Yeah. No. I think,
Now, don't get me wrong.
I
I think Wilt is still top 10.
yeah.
But he's like 8 or 9 somewhere.
Okay,
Probably.
I think I have Wilt as 5. I would say right now.
I think there's a case for Wilt to be 2. And here's why.
No, say it again. Say it again.
I think there's a case for Wilt Chamberlain to be the second best player of all time. And here's why. In today's NBA, Wilt Chamberlain is reduced to Nikola Jokic. Michael Jordan is reduced to DeMar DeRozan.
Stop! You need to stop.
You're just a
Bro.
fraud. Okay.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I'm cutting.
Oh
Jacob
my
off
gosh.
Because
No.
everything
Literally, you're literally. You said he's the second best player of all time based off a hypothetical situation. That's literally what you just said. It doesn't make any sense.
Look, the argument for having Wilt Chamberlain in your top 5 is he was the greatest of the old generation. And out of respect, you're like, he dominated his time, which is all that he can do. And you say that's a top 5 player of all time for his sheer dominance in that generation. Fine. But he is not top 4. He is not top 3. He is certainly not the second best player of all time. And if you call him your GOAT, I mean,
No, LeBron is the
I don't even know
GOAT.
what to say about you.
LeBron is the GOAT.
So my top 5 right now: LeBron 1, MJ 2, Kareem 3, Tim Duncan 4, and then the 5 can be a revolving door of Wilt, Magic, Larry Bird. 5 is a toss up, and
Yeah,
I also
I-
But you
Quick
don't
side
think
tangent.
Steph is part of that
Steph is a top 15 player of all time as of right now.
15. I mean,
All right,
like,
right now I have.
how
I
many
have
guys are
LeBron
above
at 1.
Steph? Like,
I have LeBron at 1. I got MJ at 2. I got Kareem at 3. There's a pretty big gap after that. At 4,
Yeah.
I think we can turn some heads. I'm gonna say Tim Duncan at 4.
W.
And then I'm gonna put
No
Magic at
Tim
5.
Duncan slander.
Tim may
I
not
like
be top
that.
20.
Oh,
Stop! I'm not even gonna like.
I'm not even entertaining
Tim
that thought. That's
Frogkin
insane.
was
No,
carried
that is
by
that
Manu
is insane.
Ginobili and Tony Parker.
Bro just called it Manu. First of all, Ginobili.
I said
am getting
Ginobili.
all that- Yes, that's what I. Is that not what I said? I'm sorry if that's not what I said, but
And then,
That
at the end of
was-
his career, Kawhi Leonard.
Bro,
awful.
Bro,
This
are
is
you
an
saying he's
awful
getting-
take.
He was better than all of them when he was on the team. Besides his last year of his career, that's when Kawhi broke out. Every other year, he was the best player on his team.
He was literally an All NBA player the first year he was in the league, as a rookie. Do you understand how good you have to be to make an All NBA first team as a rookie?
Think of Evan. We all think of Evan Mobley very highly. Think of Evan Mobley on steroids. That's Tim Duncan.
Evan Mobley.
We will pray. I would pray if Evan Mobley even comes close to Tim Duncan.
Evan Mobley may even right now be beyond Tim Duncan.
He's trolling.
He's just trolling.
I'm moving on. All right, I'm moving on. I gotta move on with my top 10. 6,
He will be by the end of his career.
6, I probably would go with Larry Bird. I'd put Kobe at 7. I'd put Will at 8. I'd probably put Shaq at 9. And then I think Curry's there at 10.
No, I'm actually glad we got a chance to talk about this. Give me a second. So a couple months ago, I had a video idea, and it never ended up panning out. But I polled people on Reddit to see who their top 5 players of all time are. So let me read out loud the biggest vote getters in order, okay? I know that we're supposed to be talking about the finals, but we'll get back on track. We'll get back on track in just a second. So, LeBron James and Michael Jordan tied. So that's tied. That's 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
Kareem at 3. Then it's a 4-way tie. Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird. There's your top 7. Following with Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant. That's a top 10 right there.
That's a valid top 10, I guess.
That feels like an okay and Stephen Curry got 1 vote. So that puts him at 11, which I think is actually exactly where he is at yours, isn't it, Baden?
Curry, I think he's at 10 or 11.
I think a guy who's not getting talked about, who needs to be considered, is John Stockton. All time, most assists, most steals. I know I'm not. Stockton has the most steals.
He's like top 30-ish.
No, I think he's up there.
Like, you talking about top 10 up there?
No, but like 10 to 20. Same with Karl Malone.
With no rings? 0 rings?
I don't think a ring defines your greatness.
0 rings plus anti-vax.
I understand that, but if you never
anti-vax doesn't affect his legacy. He should be vaccinated though.
It's not. If you were never able to lead your team to a championship, you're not a top 15 player ever. Because the top 15 players ever could do that.
That's not true. I don't think so.
I'm gonna
lost words.
Tracy McGrady.
Not an all-time great.
No,
I mean he's an all-time great. He's an all-time great, but he's not like That is not. This is not a conversation we're having Tracy McGrady in right now because Tracy.
No. What I'm saying is Tracy McGrady's like the best example I can think of a very great player who never did well in the
Lillard
playoffs.
is higher all time than Tracy McGrady.
I am not advocating for Tracy McGrady being in the GOAT conversation. I'm saying McGrady's an example of a great player who never did well in the playoffs.
I understand that. John Stockton got to the finals.
Yeah.
He never did it. Why I say Stockton is higher than McGrady all time? Yeah, probably. But he's not in the top 20 range with no rings.
I don't think you should define a player by his rings.
I'm not. I'm just saying when you've been there. Like that's the thing. It's not like he had an awful team around him. And no, he had Karl Malone, who was just as good as him, with a roster good enough to make the finals, obviously. I don't understand you're playing Michael Jordan.
How close is Chris Paul to breaking the assist record?
Not close. No one's close.
Not close. John Stockton's record.
That's a near unbreakable.
Pretty much unbreakable.
You're gonna have to average like 10, 11.
At least his steals record.
18,
his steals record, and then it's insane how good at passing John Stockton was. But anyway, I feel like we should probably get back to the finals.
Let's move on to the finals. Let's go back to the finals.
So let's just say who we think. What are your finals predictions right now with your finals MVP?
All right. See, I think this is gonna be. I think this series is going to be based off of. I was watching Kenny's video, KLT4Q. I was watching.
I
This
love
video,
that guy.
and I fully 100% agree with him that this is gonna be based off the turnover battle, because the Celtics, their stars turn the ball over. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they turn the ball over a decent bit. Warriors lead the entire league in turnovers because of their free flowing offense. How that works. So I think it's whatever team has the most possessions, especially against this is the number one defense versus the number two defense. So possessions are not going to come that easy. So I think whoever team has the most chances, I think is going to win. And to me, I think that's going to be the Warriors. And because of that, I have the Golden State Warriors winning their 7th title in their franchise history in 6 games over the Boston Celtics.
Who's your Finals MVP? Curry?
Steph Curry. Steph Curry finally gets the Finals MVP. It should be his 3rd, but it's his 1st now.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jacob, you?
All right. I think the Warriors will win this. I don't know. I just think they're better than the Celtics. I'm not going to go super in depth, but I don't think the Celtics can keep up with the Warriors. Finals MVP wise, I think if you want who I think is going to be, I'm going to go with Steph. If you want who is the best value for your bet, at 10 to 1 odds plus 900.
Stop.
No, I'm serious. The best value.
You're awful better.
The best value is Jaylen Brown. Because I think, and this is a good hot take, if the Celtics win the finals, it'll be because Jaylen Brown is the finals MVP.
Fair.
Fair enough.
I mean,
fair enough.
I think that's fair.
Because Jason Tatum, I feel like, is pretty consistent. He's going to play great all the time. It just matters how everybody else on the roster plays with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably constitutes Jaylen Brown having an all-time great performance.
Seeing like every series, Jason Tatum's had like that stinker game though. He's like, there's a game where he just does not show up whatsoever, but then he follows that up with 45 points. You know what I mean? I think he might have if he has a couple of those games, then it's going to definitely be on Jaylen Brown to carry the offensive load. And if he does, then yeah, I think, and the Celtics want to win the championship, yeah, he's Finals MVP.
I understand. I am going to go with the Celtics in 7. I would have Jason Tatum as my Finals MVP. I think that Jason Tatum is. I mean, he is incredible, but like I feel like that's not a good enough explanation. He has transformed his game into being an all NBA level 2-way player. I think that he will shut down Andrew Wiggins and then go on to dominate Wiggins on the other side of the floor, even though Wiggins is a very good defender. I want to put that out. I think Wiggins has taken massive jumps, massive strides playing on Golden State. I want to give him his props for that. He's finally developed into what people thought he was going to be coming out of college. All-star starter Andrew Wiggins. But I think that Jason Tatum is just going to body him. Though, to be fair, if the Warriors do win, which they might as well, I think the voters stymie Steph Curry again.
Really?
I would bet if Clay has anything resembling if Clay has anything resembling a good series and he averages 23, 5, and 5.
Adam Silver won't let Steph have it.
Yeah, give Thompson his Finals MVP. I'm not saying what I want to I'm saying what I think will happen. I think that the voters will just continue to ignore Curry. That's just me.
Who has a Finals MVP on that Warriors team? It's Durant.
Iguodala.
Durant has 2.
Durant has 2, I believe.
Iguodala, Durant,
and Iguodala had that. Iguodala, he only let LeBron average 35. like, bro, I understand it was bad efficiency, bro, but
but just give Steve Kerr the Finals MVP at that point.
At that point, give him the Finals MVP.
That's his death lineup. That's not anything Iguodala did. That's just his planning. I don't know.
They're running the death lineup on Matthew Dellavedova. That's kind of funny.
Don't disrespect.
Don't disrespect Dellavedova.
Top
Sorry.
10
I'm not
defensive
disrespecting
shooting
him,
guard
just-
of all time.
He's trolling.
It's too specific for you to say no.
Let's just
It is too specific, but I'm looking to say no.
let's talk about the keys to the series. What really matters here? Which players have performances that really count?
This is the
Marcus
X
Smart.
factor of the series.
Oh yeah, get X Factor. That's the right.
said-
Sorry, I don't know why.
Yeah, the X factor of the series, in my opinion, I think is the two of them. I think it's Mark. I think it is Marcus Smart and Derek. For the Celtics, it's Marcus Smart and Derek White. I think if those guys are going to be the main guys chasing Steph Curry around, which is a very difficult task to handle. If they can do anything at all to slow down Curry, there's a good chance the Celtics win this series. And for the Warriors, I think it's Kevon Looney. If we get Maverick series Kevon Looney, I don't know how the Celtics win. He was just absolutely dominant. But if we get like Nuggets Kevon Looney, like Nuggets series Kevon Looney, then the Celtics gonna have their way with anything they want in the paint.
Yeah, Kevon Looney, there's this incredible clip that I saw, I remember. It's Luka is like at the free throw line and he's like pivoting and he's putting the moves on
I've seen
Kevon
that.
Looney. And Kevon Looney is too slow to react. So he ends up just standing there with his hands up while Luka works his way back to the same position and blocks Luka's shot. Kevon Looney is the least athletic player, is the least mobile player out there, and yet for some reason it works. I don't know.
So I'm
What
gonna
about
have
you,
to,
Jacob?
I'm
Who's
gonna
your
disagree with
X factor?
Ben here. I don't think Derek White matters at all. I think you can take him off the Celtics team and it won't have any effect on the series whatsoever.
Have you watched the playoffs?
Derek White doesn't matter. That's the truth.
I promise you, if Derek White has absolute stinkers the entire series, the Warriors will 100% will win.
They will win regardless of how
promise
well he plays.
you. If Derek White, like, let's just say, take Derek White off the team, Warriors in 4.
Why do you think Derek
White is
White
important.
matters so much?
Because who's their backup point guard?
Derek
without
White
him?
plays defense. Derek White plays defense. That's why. And Derek White's he's an important part to the #1 defense in the NBA.
I don't really care about having a great defensive backup point guard when you already have great defensive shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm underrating Derek White. But
You are.
You are.
I don't think he matters.
You are.
I will definitively tell you, you are underrating Derek White. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You are underrating Derek White.
So if you want my X factor for the series, in my opinion, it's Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins,
Valid.
I don't remember who said this about Tatum owning Wiggins. It's not gonna happen.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, Wiggins is gonna hold Tatum to under 20 in at least 3 games this series. I think that's something he could reasonably do. Wiggins,
Sure.
I like Wiggins. I think next we need an Anthony Bennett revenge tour. You know? Like,
Ah.
I don't know. I think Wiggins is very, very good. And I think he will matter for this series. And he will prove that Jason Fraudham is in fact a fraud.
God, there were so many words in that sentence that were just awful when put together. But, I mean, I'm just... my X Factor...
Hey man, you got it, bro.
My X Factor for the series on the Celtics, I think it's going to rely a lot on Grant Williams. And let me tell you why. The 5 people that they're going to put out on the floor to defend the starters, like the Warriors to the Celtics, the starting 5 of the Warriors are going to wear them down. So that takes out all of them on offense. You just expect their regular averages, maybe a little worse than that. So then you go down to the bench players. Derek White is important, but he's streaky, and so I guess that's why his X factor makes sense. But Grant Williams, there was one game I'm sure Baden, which game was it where he went absolutely nuclear and he hit like 7 or 8 threes?
I think it was I think it was either game 7 of the Buck series.
It was
in
Buck
the Buck
series.
series.
Yeah, I think it was game 6.
It was in the Buck series.
Maybe 7. No, it's Bucks. No. Probably 6.
It was one of those games, and
I think game 6 was what game Tatum had like 46. So I think it was game 7 where Grant
must have been.
Really well.
And that just proves my point. Grant Williams is a series decider. It does not matter. Put the ball in that man's hands, leave him open, let that man shoot. 80%, guarantee it. He's not missing.
You know what also I'm thinking of right now? I think also the fatigue on the Celtics. They played back-to-back series to 7 games, while the Warriors have won 2 of their 3 series in 5. And their other series went to 6. But they've been up 3-0 or 3-1 in all of their series so far. So I think that's also something to take into account. Warriors are more rested. And with home court, I think it's going to be harder to beat the Warriors.
And then I think my X factor for the Warriors, it's gotta be Steph. This series hinges on the way that Steph plays. Because I don't trust, like, I look through your faces. And
I don't know.
I understand that you're just like, oh, your star player doesn't play well. But I think it goes deeper than that. The entire point of this Warriors team and how it's constructed is that they're deep. You look at them and you're like, this team 1 through 10 is incredibly dangerous. But that 1 through 10 all hinges on if your number 1 guy, if that guy is being locked down. I don't trust Jordan Poole. I don't trust Klay Thompson. I don't trust Draymond Green. I don't trust Andrew Wiggins. Because if they're locking down Steph, they're locking down everybody else. Steph Curry is my X factor. As stupid as that is, I understand.
If you took Steph and Tatum out of the finals entirely, which team wins?
Warriors.
Yeah.
Warriors.
That's why I think Steph is less important. Obviously, the Warriors would still lose if they just lost Steph. You know.
I think that would be an amazingly I wonder how Steve Kerr and Ime Udoka would go about that series. I feel like that would really show how good of coaches they really are. Obviously, they're both proven. Ime Udoka is proven after this playoff run. He's a proven coach, and Steve Kerr, one of the greatest coaches ever. He's on that type of run.
I mean, I think it's.
But I think
pretty easy for Kerr to do what he would have to do without Steph. You just throw in Jordan Poole, you know? Klay can cover a lot of what Curry did, maybe even do it better, you know?
Stop. No. Okay, so actually, Steph Curry has evolved into an above-average defender these playoffs, which takes away some of, your argument about Klay. Steph is starting to pick up some of that slack. And it might be because, everybody else is an incredible defender around him, so they just also make him look better. But I don't know. It's not like he's been awful. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on the matter, personally. Do we want to transition over to the NFL offseason, some early NFL predictions?
Sure.
It's been a minute since we've done an NFL segment, so let's talk.
Honestly, I said we just throw out hot takes and kind of see where they go from there.
I like it.
So I got one. I think one team. There's one team that I really just. I'm probably higher on them than maybe anybody else that's not a fan of this team. I think the moves that they made this offseason, unlike a lot of teams like the Browns and the Broncos that completely mortgaged their future for certain players, this team I think made the right moves at the right time to their positions of need. To me, that's the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles could have very well, they had 3 first-round picks. They could have very well said, we'll trade them all, and we'll go get Deshaun Watson, or we'll go get Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? But they didn't. They traded one away, and they got a top 10 receiver in the NFL, and A.J. Brown. And they picked 2 other, or I guess, do they have 2?
Jordan Davis.
I think they...
And
Jordan
they
Davis
deferred the other
and
one with the deal to the Saints.
Oh, yeah, the other one was the deal with the Saints. So, with those moves, signing Hassan Reddick, drafting Jordan Davis, Kobe Dean, already have a good offensive line, the number 1 rushing attack in the NFL. You signed James Bradbury a couple weeks ago to add to Darius Slay, which makes a really good secondary. Jalen Hurts is only going to keep improving. I think the Eagles are Super Bowl contenders. If Jalen Hurts improves, the Eagles are Super Bowl contenders. I think they'll win 12 games.
I think they'll win the division, but I think they'll be like a 10 or 11 game division winner.
I agree with the take that they're going to be good. I don't know if them being Super Bowl contenders is something that I agree with. I think it all hinges on. I think it all hinges on is Jalen Hurts that guy? And I don't know if what you're calling what he's done so far proof of him being able to lead a team. I'm still a little iffy on him so far.
I think we've seen improvements from his first year starting at Alabama to his last year at Oklahoma to his rookie season to his second year. We've seen improvements gradually year after year after year after year. I feel like why does it stop now? There's even more talent on the roster now around him, adding A.J. Brown. To me, I think that he's in the position to succeed. And also the Eagles are set up. They're in the position, if he doesn't succeed, boom, we can go make the move for our next quarterback. We have 2 first-round picks. Whether it's moving up and we get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or any quarterback that comes out of nowhere and becomes the top QB prospect, or if we go trade, I don't know, some crazy thing. Maybe Lamar Jackson doesn't sign his extension with the Ravens and they trade for him.
I like where you're
going. You know what I mean?
With this now.
Something wild could happen.
Yeah, I like it. I would say I'm accepting of division winners. I think that they might, obviously, I think what the illusion that every talking head is going to be making from now until the Super Bowl of next year is the Bengals, the 2021-2022 Bengals. A young team, start with a very good rookie or near rookie quarterback, and they're just going to say, oh, they're this year's Bengals. And I don't want to say that, but it's quite possible for teams to have a run where they just, they've drafted well the past couple of years, and now they've broken out when it's just really been slow, gradual improvement,
Mm.
So I would be okay with saying they're wild card round winners out after that.
I mean, I think also when I say Super Bowl contenders, I may want to rephrase that. I think they're high contenders in the NFC because the NFC is weak.
Yeah.
The Rams, obviously, they're the Super Bowl contenders. Literally outside of that, I don't see another team.
Buccaneers?
The 40, I guess the Buccaneers. I guess the Buccaneers would be second, yeah. But, 49ers, the future with Debo is very questionable. The Cardinals seem to break down after the second half of every season. The Packers lost their number 1 receiver. The Cowboys lost a lot of talent. They're bound to regress.
The Cowboys just never perform well, I feel like, is what we should be saying. Cowboys just suck.
It's just to me, there's no clear-cut team after the Rams or the Bucks. I think the Saints are going to be pretty good. If they're healthy, I think they're pretty good. But to me, I think the Eagles are going to take that step, especially in the division. Like I said, Cowboys are bound to regress. The Giants improved but I don't think they improved enough to be a true contender.
I don't think Daniel Jones is good enough.
And Daniel Jones isn't good enough. And then Washington they're the same team. Like Washington to me didn't like I didn't really like anything they did this offseason. So
all right, I got a hot take. What was it? I think Trevor Lawrence proves that he was not supposed to be taken at number 1 overall. That he should have not been taken at number 1 overall. I understand that they made improvements on the roster. Is the first thing I want to say. I might not have been a fan of the amount of money that they threw at everybody, but I am a fan of like some of the personnel that they added. I do, however, know for a fact that Trevor Baalke is an absolutely horrendous GM. He is not good.
Yeah.
And they keep on giving him chance year after year. And I think that at some point, you have to say, this is impacting your development of young players. And I think that that's what we're going to see this year with Trevor Lawrence. I think they might not have put all the right type of personnel around him. While I like the names and like the idea of it, it's just like it might be like a Russell Westbrook situation where it's like, oh, this is a flashy signing, but does it really matter in the long run?
I see what you're saying. I feel like it's too early to tell. Like, oh, you shouldn't have picked this player. Trevor Lawrence has got to not only play awful on the field, he's probably got to do something off the field that would make me say, yeah, definitely that's just a wrong pick. Especially when you look at the other quarterbacks, not much has been proven there. Like Matt Jones, fraud. We all know this. Troy Lance can't beat out Jimmy G. Justin Fields, he's just in an awful situation. Zach Wilson, I think, is probably in the best situation.
Yeah.
To be.
I would agree. I would agree. This is a W Baden take. Waden would be
Zach Wilson, I'm not gonna lie, Zach Wilson might break out this year. I think that's kind of bound to happen. If any,
that's
like
my
you were just talking about the 20. If you were just talking about the 2021 Bengals, if anyone's gonna be the 2021 Bengals, it's the Jets.
That's a good take. I like that.
Second year quarterback,
Rookie wide receiver. I like it. CJ Uzoma. All right, you guys want my take?
Sorry, I'm just really celebrating that somebody on our podcast said that my team, the New York Jets, might be the 2022-2023 Bengals. This is not because of an L take. I'm just very excited. I haven't had this much hope in a team in a good minute. Yeah. So it's just nice to hear. It's nice to hear. Thank you, Beta. Thank you, Jacob.
All right, my thoughts. The Broncos will crash and burn. They will finish last in the AFC West. They will win under 7 games. And they will try to find a way to dump Russ immediately. Russ's 1 year on the Broncos will go down as the horrible blip in his career before he goes somewhere else.
Huh. Could you tell me why? Like, what about their team makes you think this? Because I'm genuinely curious. Like, I want to know what the thought process is.
So it's actually less about their team, and there are some issues with the team that I don't like. But first of all, I think the weapons are unproven on receivers. Cortland Sutton is okay. He's coming off a major injury. Jerry Jeudy is still a question mark. We don't really know, coming off an injury. Like, we just don't know with this receiver room. They are playing in the hardest division in football, and they have a top 10 hardest schedule. I think it's a series of unfortunate things. I think what they have going for them is an elite secondary and a great young running back in, I forgot his name. Javonte Williams, who I think will become top 10 this year. I think they have some things going for them, but I think this Russ move will pan out horrible.
That's not an awful take. I'm kind of a proponent of this. What should we talk about while Baden's not here? Because he seemed to have left us. He's probably lagging out or something.
Yeah.
Is what I would put my money on. Personally.
What kind of odds?
Jacob, you need to seek help. I'm sorry. It's not funny anymore. I entertained it for too long.
I'll give you 50-50. No juice. Double your money. Is it connectivity issues?
Yes. I was betting
yes.
I'm betting a dime. See
I
that?
will take that bet.
Good old American dime that this is connectivity issues.
I will take it. I'll go with no.
See, so I win, I get 20 cents. Well, 10 cents.
10 extra cents, yeah.
10 extra cents, yeah. So Jacob, we'll do a quick little side segment since I know that Baden is not for your very clear gambling problems. What's your bet of the day today? What are you feeling really confident about?
Alrighty. My sports book. Sorry, my dad just texted me. Give me 1 sec.
My bet of the day is over under Andrew Wiggins 15 points. I'm taking the over on that.
There was one I really liked. I'm trying to find it.
Was it a tennis match?
Here we go. No. Fliff Sportsbook, shout out, has a boosted offer called Pool Day. Jordan Poole 20 plus points and the Warriors to win at 5-1 odds. That's my pick.
I like that. I could get behind that. This is not as bad as I would think. As I was thinking. I like that. I would take those odds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's throw out another hot take. I think these are just going to be awful hot takes since I'm putting no thought into them. Well,
I'm a big fan of those. That's what I do all the time. I'll just think of it, and then like after I say it, I will think of reasoning, and I do that all the time on this podcast.
Awesome. Love to see that. The people who are bringing your sports takes are just not thinking about it.
I'm kidding. Kidding.
Just tossing it out there. I think Tom Brady is done after this year.
Ooh. I think Tom Brady is done in Tampa after this year.
I disagree. I think that he's not
finally back.
Baden, what was the problem?
Why are we gone? No,
My Discord literally just crashed. It literally
That's
crashed.
not connectivity. That's not connectivity.
Connectivity issue.
No, it's not. That connectivity means internet.
That is exactly what I was
Baden,
saying.
would you call it a connectivity issue?
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Like, you couldn't connect to the call.
It did say something like, do you guys see where it says video? I don't think Sam can see it, but Jacob, on your computer where it says video connected?
Yeah.
It said, like, RTC disconnected.
That's connectivity issues. Give me my money,
Connected.
Jacob.
It disconnected. I froze. It kicked me out of Discord. I had to sign out of my computer, sign back in, and now I'm back.
That's my money, Jacob. That's my money.
All right.
I had 2-1. I had 2-1 odds on
Jacob, you say losing money. It's insane.
That's funny. Okay. Also, we got 2 bets for you. One, tell me if you take the over. If you take the over under on one, and if you would take the other bet just straight up. Okay. One of them is Andrew Wiggins 15 points over under. Taking the over or are you taking the under on that?
For game 1 or average?
Yeah, game one.
I'm gonna say over. I think
Wiggins' over under tonight is actually 16.5.
Hey, off the top of my head, that's not too bad.
I'll still take the over. I'll still take the over. I think Wiggins is gonna have a big game 1.
I agree. And then the other one is, I think this is an actual bet from Jacob's Sportsbook. It's Jordan Poole, 20+ points and Warriors to win. You taking that?
5-1 odds.
No, I'm not taking Jordan Poole scoring 20.
Poole is averaging 18. He's averaging over 20 at home.
I know, but I just said Wiggins is going to go have a big game. I think that's going to take opportunities away from Jordan Poole.
Okay.
I agree. I agree, Baden. Good job. Good stuff.
All right.
Let's see.
What did I miss?
I don't know. I think
Hot
we
takes.
kind of held off. So I think we should each give one more hot take. Everybody give it a grade from F to A. Obviously A being the best. And then I think that's where we should end the podcast.
I guess.
Everybody take a minute to compose yourselves. Think of a good hot take.
We're still
on football hot take, yeah. While everybody's thinking of theirs, I'll just plug our socials. Twitter, Benchwarmers216. I believe that's still it. We got a Spotify. We got, obviously, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Each of our personal Instagram accounts.
Everything will be linked in the description, right, Jacob?
No comment.
God.
All right, so my hot take.
All right.
2020, Devontae Adams went from being a good receiver to an elite wide receiver. 2021, Cooper Kupp went from being a good wide receiver to an elite wide receiver. I shouldn't be saying elite. I should be saying top 3, basically.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, Stephon Diggs will jump from being above average, good, to consensus top 5.
He's consensus like top 10 already.
Yeah.
Right, but it's still a jump.
I don't think...
Devontae Adams was consensus top 10.
To me, that was 2020. He took his jump. I don't see him having a better year than he did in 2020.
I think what you're looking at is, I think you're looking at a guy like AJ. Like if you're saying AJ Brown goes from being good to being elite, sure. You're looking at a guy like, I don't know. Give me somebody else.
Brandon Cooks or like.
Yeah, you're looking. Brandon Cooks is a perfect example. Brandon Cooks going from consistent 1,000 yards to 1,500 yards, 1,600 yards.
Yeah,
that's the type of jump that you're looking to make.
At this time last year, I'd have probably told you Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks are on the same tier. Obviously, that's not true anymore. But yeah, I don't know if Stephon Diggs is. I mean, yeah, that would be obviously that would probably be Stephon Diggs' best year, but it's not by much because his 2020 season was elite.
Was incredible.
Honestly, you could say that Kupp and Cooks are still on the same tier. I'm serious, and let me explain that. Kupp went from Jared Goff to Matthew Stafford. Cooks is not going to get a QB upgrade anytime soon,
Brandon.
What?
We all know who he had, and he's better than Matthew Stafford. Like, he was better. Are we gonna be serious right now?
Jared Goff?
Oh, I'm talking about
Drew Brees?
Brandon Cooks past quarterbacks.
Drew Brees?
I'm talking about Deshaun Watson.
Jared Goff?
like I'd say Goff or Brees and Watson.
He played 1 year with Watson.
Better. I know.
He's played 1 year.
Kupp had 1 year with. Kupp had 1 year with Stafford.
He was also the secondary receiver behind. Oh no, that's not true. Diop was gone.
No, because I actually do agree with some of the sentiment of this because Brandon Cooks has been he's gone over 1,000 yards for like 4 or 5 straight seasons. 6 times with some like
I think
with no stability with no stability in his system. Oh, continue. Sorry, Baden. That's my bad.
I saw a stat that only Mike Evans has more 1,000-yard seasons in their career than Brandon Cooks.
In their whole career? That's kind of crazy.
Brandon Cooks.
Wait, how does Julio not have more?
Julio, I think Julio and Brandon Cooks are tied with 6.
Really? Huh.
Brandon Cooks, I truly believe, has the potential to be that guy if he has any stability whatsoever. But every year he's just traded for another third-round pick, another third-round pick, another third-round pick. It's insane. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
I think that this year with stability, he will be making that sort of jump to where he's not in terms of skill, but in terms of recognition.
Production.
People are going to look at that 1,300 yards, 1,400 yards that he has, and they're going to be like, wow, this guy's really that good.
That's fair, because I actually think Davis Mills is actually pretty solid.
Davis Mills can support a 1,500-yard wide receiver because of just his volume.
You talk about Mills, Cooks. That's literally the only way the offense is going to be somewhat sustainable. So I think it's going to I could see Brandon Cooks having a big statistical year.
Yeah.
I would give that take a B. I would give that take a C plus.
I'll give it a C minus. I don't know. You can make the argument right now. Stephon Diggs is a top 5 receiver, so I don't.
You could, but I think with Cole Beasley gone, he's shared with another. I mean, you could argue that what's his name, Gabe Davis. Year 1 in Buffalo, John Brown was the wide receiver 2 who took away targets. Year 2 was Cole Beasley. Year 3, you could argue that it will be Gabe Davis. But I think now Josh Allen is comfortable as this elite quarterback. He's more comfortable taking these risky throws. I think Diggs will take a even bigger jump. I think he'll lead the league in receptions, and I think he'll win Triple Crown.
That's a bold take.
That is a bold take. Alrighty.
You got a take?
My take is.
Sorry for the movement here, but Jacob was talking to me about keeping our energy levels up throughout the pod.
This is my take. By the end of this season, we will no longer consider Travis Kelce and George Kittle the top 2 tight ends in the NFL. It will be Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts. I think we'll consider Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts the top 2 tight ends in the NFL by the end of this season.
I think that's an okay. I would say Kyle Pitts will be a top 2 tight end in the NFL. I like that. Mark Andrews, I don't think so. But
I
Travis
agree with
Kelce,
half of what you said. Putting Kittle on the same fall-off tier as Kelce is weird because Kittle is like 25. Kittle's a very young guy.
I'm not saying. I think Kelsey's just gonna fall off. I think teams are gonna look at the receiving core and say we're not worried about anyone. We focus on Kelsey. He's just not gonna produce. And I think there's gonna be clear. He's older. I think Kittle. I'm not saying he's gonna fall off. I just think Mark Andrews could lead the league in receiving yards with who's the receiver 1 in Baltimore. I like Rashad Bateman, but he's not proven yet. You know what I mean? And then same thing in Atlanta. They just took Drake London 8th overall, but obviously he hasn't done anything yet. Pitts we've seen, at least a year of, and he looks really good. I think he should be the number 1 receiver in the offense. I really like. I think those guys will produce at extreme levels, and I think I will by the end of this season, those will be the top 2 guys.
I just think it's been 2 years since we've seen a healthy George Kittle. He set the record for receiving yards by tight end that year, while still being the best blocking tight end in the NFL and setting up a 1,000-yard season for Raheem Mostert. Kittle can do so
I guess
much.
That's fair.
And we're kind of.
I guess that's fair.
We're kind of writing him off, but if he comes back and if he's fully healthy,
I'm not saying these guys. I could see Kittle and Kelsey being 3 and 4. You know what I mean? They're still elite tight ends. I think there's just guys who pass them. I think Kelsey will just fall off, and I don't know about Kittle. You know what I mean? I think if he puts up these, obviously good numbers, but I think of what the position Pitts and Andrews are in, and saying those guys can have absolutely insane seasons.
Yeah. But then again, if Debo holds out, for example, Kittle could go crazy.
Kittle could have a good year, but I also think Brandon Ayuk can do what Debo can do.
That's
Honestly,
Debo is massively overrated.
Debo is overrated. I think Debo's skill
Especially
set.
since he doesn't want
Debo's
to
skill
play
set is only
running back
because,
anymore.
like, literally, I'd be willing to pay you a decent sum if you still played wide back, if you want to call it. But like, you don't even want to play the position. And as a receiver, I mean, I think I saw a stat. He's top of the league in drops. He was one of the higher drop percentages in the entire league. You're not this $30 million receiver. You're a $25 million football player. That's what you are.
Indeed.
So,
W.
And then I only think he's only good as a running back because he's on the 49ers. The 49ers make running backs. Raheem Mostert is not going to be good in Miami. I promise you, Raheem Mostert will not be. Actually, I might take that back because
the Frank
that's
Gore
the 49ers type team.
Crazy.
No, I'm talking about like Shanahan. Since Shanahan's
I'm just kidding. I got you.
Today, right?
Since Shanahan's been there, even he did it in Atlanta with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman.
God,
when Shanahan left, both of those guys fell off a map.
Yeah.
Just like me in Fortnite, up top. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
That's right. I just made a Fortnite joke in 2022.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I would give your original take, a B. I agree with half of it. What about you, Jacob? What's your score for that take?
I don't remember the original because we got so off track.
George Kittle
and Andrew
are no longer the top two tight ends.
Yeah, I said Pitts and Andrews would be top two.
I don't know. I think Kittle will remain in the top two. I think Andrews has peaked.
So what's your grade? Let's hear the final grade.
B+.
All right, then I guess to finish it off, there's me. I don't think what I'm going to say is too crazy. I think we're going to see the emergence of another two running back, like a star two running back system. Like just two elite. It's not going to be the Jets.
Okay,
I know what you're thinking. It's not going to be Michael
Yeah,
Carter.
I didn't.
No, that's not where I'm coming from. I think you're going to see the emergence of another system like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, where you got two incredibly versatile players, very good at what they do. I think you're going to see something like that emerge. So my bet is I couldn't tell you exactly where it's going to be, but I'll give you a couple of lists off the top of my head. It might come out in Green Bay as Aaron Rodgers gets older with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. It might come out in, a division rival of the Browns with J.K. Dobbins and like Gus Edwards or something. I'm just like, if you're looking for people who are going to take a jump so that they start feeling comfortable with using like those two running back sets, where you're just switching one out for the other at every single opportunity, those are the types of places you're going to see it in. So
I honestly think there's two places. I like Seattle, Kenneth Walker and Chris Carson, or Rashad Penny.
Chris Carson should be cut. They should cut him.
Honestly,
Chris Carson I like Chris Carson.
He's decent. Honestly, but I wouldn't mind the Seahawks, especially in the position they're in, to trade or cut him.
Especially because he has the neck issue. We don't know if he'll ever play again. Yeah, he is not worth
Rashad Penny and Kenneth Walker, and then Indianapolis, Jonathan Taylor. I know he's going to get extreme amount. I don't think he's going to have as many touches as last year, but he is going to still get an extreme boatload. And then in an offense that should pass the ball more because of Matt Ryan, I think Nyheim Hines is going to have a big year.
That's good. I forgot about that Colts offense. That's a good one. That's my hot. I'm stealing yours. That's my hot take. You're going to see an emergence of a Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt system in the Indianapolis Colts with Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. I don't think it's super hot or anything.
I think the Colts had a top 5 offseason, honestly. If you look at the moves that they did, they traded Rocky Ya-Sin for Yannick Ngakoue, gives them their best edge rusher, and then they replaced Rocky Ya-Sin with Stephon Gilmore and then you replace Carson Wentz with Matt Ryan. Those are just upgrades on upgrades on upgrades. And then they went into the draft and they just drafted a bunch of elite athletes that, you know, have the potential to perform, which I think that's a pretty cool way to go about your drafts.
Yeah.
So I think the Colts had a really good offseason.
I think one backup running back who deserves a shot and will never get it, D'Onta Foreman of the Tennessee Titans. He played very, very well.
So incredible.
Yeah, but he played super, super well. Like almost, I would almost say top 10 level during the weeks Henry was gone. He filled that role.
No, I guess, yeah.
I don't think you can really fill.
Oh yeah, that's not
Derrick
true.
Henry's
You
shoes.
can't fill
the
Derrick Henry.
You're not gonna fill
200
unless
yards.
if you're not Jonathan Taylor or Nick Chubb, you're not gonna fully fill the role of Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
But yeah, he played solid. He played a lot better than I thought he would.
So what grade are we giving my take?
Because you got it from me, I'm gonna say an
I'm gonna go with an A-, just because I'm a hater.
You are a hater. You're Patrick Beverly to Chris Paul. Yeah.
All right. Is that all we got?
Yeah. Thank you for listening. I hope everybody enjoys the NBA Finals as much as we hate all of the teams there. But you know,
Hey man,
I think that's all for now.
Warriors in 6.